Today I'm going to talk about cropping pictures. There are all different kinds of programs that have a cropping tool, and they don't all work the same way. It's going to be interesting to show you some of these programs and how they work and how the cropping tools of these different programs can be quite different. Now, I've started out in Paint.net, which is a well-known free program, because what I want to do is to show you mainly free programs. I will have one paid program in this particular tutorial, but you'll find as we go along that I'm always showing you how to do everything you want to do using only free programs. Now, Paint.net is a very nice program, and what I've done here is I've chosen the selection tool. So if I want to crop this beautiful butterfly on the ugly background, all I have to do is to select it and then click on Image and Crop to Selection. And it will take just a few seconds, and then we're going to have our butterfly all cropped. But I'm going to do Control Z, which is another interesting point here, is that in Paint.net you can undo your cropping because there are some programs where you can't. Now, another interesting thing in Paint.net is that you can also crop not just a rectangular selection, but you can crop any selection. So you have the ellipse, and that's going to be cropped, so that might look nice depending on what you want to do. We're going to Control Z there again to show you another one, which is the lasso tool, the freehand selection. Now, suppose you wanted to remove the background. There's another tutorial which I've already done on that. Well, you can start by taking out as much of the background as you can, and then you crop that. And that way, you won't have to bother about the rest of the background. It'll be out. And then all you're going to have to worry about is getting all these other little pieces out. So that's all for Paint.net. It's got some good things and some less good things, because as I showed you, when you select, you can't move your selection around, and you don't see too much the difference between, you see a little bit but not enough, the difference between what you selected and what your final cropped image is going to look like. So that's a disadvantage of Paint.net, whereas the advantages are that you can crop different shapes and you can undo your cropping if you're not happy about it, because otherwise you would have to open your picture again and then start over again. But at least here you can do Control Z. Let's do it again, and your original picture is back. The second program I'm going to show you is one that's called Hornell StylePix. It's also a free program. It's not as well known as Paint.net, but it's very interesting too. Now, it's got a very good crop tool. Let's look at it. We click on Crop, and then we select. And what we have here, which is interesting, is that we have the part that we're going to crop that's grayed out. So that gives us a better way to see exactly what our cropped picture is going to look like. Another good thing about it is that we can adjust without closing out the selection. And so we can say, well, if I want a little more sky, I can add it. And if I want a little more trees on the bottom, I can add those. And then when it's about the way I want it, then I can crop it. Now, we also see this grid which divides your picture into thirds, and that's good because it helps you to create a good composition. So you see my original picture is very nice, but if I just crop out those trees on the bottom and some of the clouds on the top, this will put more emphasis on the scene that I'm really interested in, which is this beautiful valley with the mountains in the distance. Now, what I do now is I click on Enter, and there we have it. But then you see in this particular program, I can't do the same thing I did in Paint.net, which is to crop according to anything other than a rectangle. But that's very nice as it is. So each program has its advantages, its good points, and its limitations. And here's a third one called Chassis Draw. Once again, it's free, but it's not very well known, and it has some very, very interesting things in it. So I'm opening up another beautiful image, and this again is right near my home. I was driving home and saw this beautiful light coming onto that little village on top there, and so I had to stop and take a picture. but I couldn't get too close because I had to stop on the side of the road. So my picture has a lot of extraneous stuff in it. So this is a good example of what you can do to improve the composition of your pictures by cropping. So we're going to click on crop, and surprise, there are 3 different ways to crop. So this program is rather original. It doesn't always act like the other ones, but I'm going to use the 3rd one, which is more traditional and which you can move around a lot. Now it pops something in the middle, and then I have to go over to the side if I want to open it out. But when I open it out, it goes both ways, which is a little bit limiting. So here we have, every time I click on it, it shows the middle. But you see, I still am able to move it around. And so I want to take off this bottom part, which has no interest at all. And I also would like to take off some of the side. But so this is an interesting program. You can do some interesting things. One of the interesting things is that you can rotate your picture, which might be useful. So I don't want to do that rotation, but I want to take this part off. Well, that mountain on the side is very nice. I want to get a part of the tree, but not all of it. And so now, if you look at, you don't see as clearly as with the second one I showed you, because the outside is not grayed off, but that's all right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click. There we go. And there you can see that the resulting picture is much more interesting than the original picture. So I can zoom in a little there, and this now all of our attention is drawn towards this luminous town on the hill. And it's luminous because it's the way the sun was shining through the clouds just at that particular moment that I was driving along the road. Photography is like that. You have to have a little bit of luck sometimes to get those beautiful pictures. Okay, that's all for this one. So here we are in Paint Shop Pro. Paint Shop Pro is a paid program, but I included in my list of programs, for one thing, because I really like it. It does a lot of interesting things. And for another thing, because even though the price that you see on their website is rather high, something between $80 and $100, you can find it for cheaper. I found it on eBay. It's a legitimate CD of the Paint Shop Pro. And I've also seen it on Amazon, but I couldn't buy it on Amazon because I live in France, and that's why it's all in French here, but that won't bother you. We've got our little symbol for those who don't know French. So we click on our symbol, our cropping symbol, and then we do the same thing as we did before. And then we can adjust it. We can move it as we did for the others. And also with Paint Shop Pro, we can turn it around, which can give us a different angle, which might be interesting. So we click on Apply. And there we have our flower. But you see there's something on the side here. I don't know what that is, so I can do it again. There it is. So that's how Paint Shop Pro works, and it's very good too. So this is one of the good ones that are easy and convenient and helpful to use. Now the last one that I'm going to show you is a little program that's called JPEG Crops. The difference between this program and the others is that you can use batch processing to crop your images. Now obviously you're not going to crop them all the same way, but you can open them together. Now you can open a folder, but then you have to put the whole folder in there. Or you can open images, or you can click open images here. And so I'm going to put on miniatures so I can see what I'm doing. And then so I have a bunch of butterflies here. Let's take this butterfly, and then let's take this one too. So I'm going to hold control click, and let's take a few more. Aren't these wonderful pictures? This is the area I live in France, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful, there's beautiful things to photograph all over the place. There we go. So I've selected several, and they're all going to be opening in my program. And what you have them is you have them one after the other, and they're all ready to be cropped. So you see, I can have different combinations and different sizes, or I can just put free. I thought I had wanted that to write in English, but it's sort of mixing English and French. So that means your freestyle. So that one looks nice. And then I go on to the next one. And that one's not free, is it? I'm going to put free on there. Okay, because I'm not going to make postcards or anything. I just want to have a smaller picture where my butterfly is the main point of attraction. And this was a nice little butterfly place that we went to where they had all sorts of butterflies flying around in there, and you could take pictures, and they were all really beautiful. Now, this has all the advantages. You see, you can put it any place you want to, and you have the area to be cropped that is grayed out. And it also has, you can have a golden section and you can have a rule of thirds. So you can put that grid on there if you want to. And you don't have to put it on each one of them. This was a cute little kitty that we saw who was running under the train. I want to get that train there. I want to show that he's running over the train tracks. Okay, so I can do a whole lot more if I want to. And they have different things you can do. Flip aspect. So if you want it the other way around, vertical, you can do that too. But so I can just tweak this and fool around with it. But what's nice is that I don't have to crop it and come back and crop it again. And I have the grayed out area, which really shows me what I'm going to see when it's cropped. And the other advantage of this is that you crop them all together and that they're going to put them, these cropped images, into another directory. So your original images will be automatically saved. So this is a free program and it works very, very well. So all I have to do is click on crop all images, and there it goes. And it might open the directory. I just left it in my documents cropped. So now I know where to find them, and I can open them and look at them and see if they look all right. So that's the end of this tutorial. What I wanted to show you was the difference between some of these programs. Now, I've gone through so many programs, and I'm not going to show every one to you in the tutorial. But if you go over to my site, shoestringgraphics.com, you will find a table that has a whole bunch of programs and an evaluation of how these programs crop. Now, I'll be talking about these programs at other times. For the moment, the only thing I'm thinking about is, do they crop well or don't they? And this is what I've tried to show you, what the criteria are for a good crop tool and what some of those good crop tools are that you can download yourself. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it helped.